Fascinating new insight into Saddam Hussein's final days now emerging, including shocking details of his interrogation in which he admitted he was bluffing about having weapons of mass destruction. Let's go back to Brian Todd. He's watching the story for us. All right, Brian, first of all, what's the source of this new information?
A source you might just recognize, Wolf. While he was in U.S. custody, Saddam Hussein spent a lot of time with a 36-year-old FBI interrogator named George Piro. What he reportedly told the young agent throws more cold water on the justification for war. War over weapons of mass destruction. But the man who allegedly had those weapons told his interrogator it was mostly smoke and mirrors. For his new book, The Terrorist Watch, author Ron Kessler interviewed FBI Special Agent George Piro, who questioned Saddam Hussein every day, at least 5 hours a day, for 7 months. The former dictator's startling revelation.
Saddam eventually admitted in the interviews that he was bluffing about WMD. He was afraid of Iran. He wanted them to think that he had WMD. And what better way than if America thought that he had WMD? At the same time, Saddam admitted that he did plan to resume his WMD program, which he thought he could do within about a year when he thought sanctions would be lifted.
Piro, a seasoned interrogator, told Kessler he believed Saddam because of his body language. According to Kessler, Saddam told Piro he'd stayed one step ahead of U.S. forces on the night of the invasion.
Saddam also told George that, in fact, he was at the two locations that the U.S. bombed. Saddam said he was there, but he had left by the time the bombs actually fell.
Piro told Kessler Saddam was a neat freak who would wash his hands compulsively if he ever shook yours. The former Iraqi president also flirted with an American nurse while in custody, writes Kessler, and had plenty of romantic advice for his young FBI handler.
Saddam said, you know, Arab women are better at a certain age because they'll be loyal to you, and American women are too independent.
The FBI would not let us interview George Piro or obtain a picture of him because of his sensitive assignments. The agent told Kessler when it was time to part ways, he smoked Cuban cigars with Saddam Hussein. Then
they hugged each other in the traditional Arabic way, which made George rather uncomfortable. But then Saddam definitely was shaken and teared up. Just before that,
George Piro told Kessler he found Saddam Hussein likable with a good sense of humor, but Piro never forgot what an evil man Saddam was and said he felt that Saddam's conviction and execution were fair. Wolf?
What other personal information, Brian, did Saddam Hussein share with this young FBI agent?
Well, Kessler writes that Saddam told Piro he didn't trust his younger son, Qusay, even though he had groomed Qusay to be his successor. When Piro pressed Saddam on his sons, Kessler writes, Saddam said, quote, "Look, leave me alone. You don't get to pick your kids. You're stuck with what you're given, and this is what I had."
Fascinating material. All right, thanks very much, Brian, for that. On the ground, U.S. troops grind